I literally no longer have any ideas of how to make fun of the Sabres. I got nothing. We made fun of their coaching situation, hiring a coach who had zero experience and only coached soccer. We made fun of their trade deadline. We made fun of their GM and ownership. We made fun of the losing streak. We've ragged on the players and everything around the organization. We have made fun of it. We've made jokes about it. We've kicked them while they're down. Over and over and over again. And I got nothing left. I don't know how to make fun of this team anymore. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And they just can't stop losing. After all of this, even with them playing better, they can't stop losing. I got nothing left. There's no more fun little skits to do. There's nothing fun to do. I'm dry. I'm just completely dry. So there it is. That's it. I got nothing.
Okay. Seems a little bit harsh, but I probably could have just sent a text. You didn't need to call me in here. Thanks.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team, that is another dub. That's another dub. And in fact, not is it another dub, but it's another dub. That's 3 dubs in a row. All dominant dubs. Yes, 2 of them are against Buffalo, but 1 is against a pretty good Pens team. I'll take it. You gotta have these kind of wins going into the playoffs. You gotta get the confidence up, and the confidence is high. Very high. Does this win say a lot about the team? No, not really. But there were a few interesting things about it. First of all, Swayman does get the start. Very glad with that. He actually had kind of a subpar game for him. Not that he had to do that much, and he got a ton of assistance from the offense, but one of the goals were really one that you kind of go, that shouldn't have gone in. And the other one was, yeah, you got beat on that one, that's fine. Not a great game for him. But more importantly, these are tune-up games. So you want to make sure that your lineups are close enough to what you're going to roll out in the playoffs and that your lines are feeling good. Looking at you, Jakey. That's right, Jakey is back in because Freddie and Wagner were really bad, as we talked about in the past couple games. Jakey and Kuhlman, they're reinserted. Kuhlman, all the energy in the world. I really liked what he was doing. Jakey? We'll get there. We'll talk about that. Oh, Jakey. I even wore his jersey so that he'd do well, and he just spit in my face, man. The most interesting thing to me, though, coming out of this game was the new defensive pairings we started with Lauzon and Mack. We've seen that before, but they took Grizz off that first pairing and brought him down to work with Miller. And then, of course, who's left over is Riley and Cliffy. Before the game, when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's really neat. Let's kind of see how the dynamic changes. And I gotta say, I didn't really notice that much of a dynamic change. Everyone on our defense knows the structure so well. Even Riley, who's just been brought in. But they know and understand the structure and what they're supposed to do. Miller pinches a little too often. Cliffy makes bumbling mistakes with the puck. That kind of stuff you'll see. Because so many of our defensemen are individualists. They make really nice individual plays or really bad individual plays. And it's kind of hard to judge the unit at times outside of the advanced stats that tell you one way or another. That being said, in this game, they looked fine. Everyone looked fine. There wasn't a lot of explosiveness from the unit itself, from the duo, that I was like, man, those guys are working so well together. Everyone just kind of felt good. Lastly, before we talk about the game, the month of April is Brad Marchand month. Sort of. He was named the East Division Player of the Month. He had 14 goals, 10 assists for 24 points in 17 games. That's pretty good. But then you think about it and you go, holy shit, we played 17 games in 1 month. And I know that's around the league. I'm not saying it's more than everybody else, but it is kind of crazy to put into perspective when you think about what these guys around the league are having to deal with. This is physically tough. And it does allow you to get into rhythm, which is great. But even more fascinatingly, with that condensed month, we've been getting healthier throughout. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Let's keep that going. Puck drops, and this second line is crazy to watch. They're so fucking fun. We are just over a minute into the game. We've been really powerful in their zone. They get a clear, but Miller corrals the puck and whips it right back up. He sees that they're defensively changing out lines. He wants to catch them off guards. That's a great play by Miller because he whips it up the right side to Hall. Hall gains entrance to the zone and then waits. The patience is infecting everyone on this team. And it's gonna bite us in the ass at some point, I'm sure. But right now, that second line just knows they can hold the puck forever. So Hall has it on the right circle. He's waiting. Krejci and Smith are coming in. Nice feed to Krejci. This is underrated because it's tape to tape, but it's just far enough away from the defender where the defender doesn't have a play on it. It is a perfectly passed puck. It's a Tom Brady, only my boy can catch that throw. Krejci receives that puck, and then he waits. He also wants to do a little, okay, let me just see. Let me just see. Smith, where does he go? Where does he go? He goes to the front of the net. Dirty areas. He stands in front of Luukkonen. Krejci flings it to him, and it's just a tap in. So to tap in, he's directly in front, but the stick's a little to the right. Far side. Goal. 1-0. A minute 21 into the game. And we're following the usual recipe where now we get to worry. But I was worried about nothing because for the first 6.5 minutes, it is all Bs. And I mean lines 1 through 3 are crushing the Sabres into their zone. Line 4 is a little bit of a mixed bag, but they're not playing poorly. Right after the midpoint in the first period, the Sabres will go to the box for holding. Now, this penalty we don't really get anything out of, right? We don't do anything on the power play. But with 1 second left in the power play, Coyle gets tripped. So we have a 1 second 5-on-3, and then we're going to continue a 5-on-4 for the next minute 59. Things are looking good. The hockey gods are cruel and fickle. They like to laugh at you. And so when you're sitting there all confident, this is when they get you, when you feel most confident. Face-off on the right side of their zone. Buffalo wins the face-off. Remember, there was 1 second left on that first penalty. So Sheahan, right after the face-off, jumps out of the box. But instead of going to join his team, he notices that they won the face-off. So Bryson whips it down to him. I don't know if this was a pass. This might have just been a clearance that went tape to Sheahan. Sheahan has days to go in on Swayman, and I know we love Swayman's comment about, I like shootouts, I like breakaways, they're fun. You're not going to stop all of them. He roofs it, tie glove, great shot by Sheahan. Swayman gets beat. You can't expect him to stop every breakaway. That is 1-1 on a shorty, and the hockey gods are chuckling. They're just up there chuckling their little dicks off. What are you going to do? What's even worse is after that shorthanded goal goes in, and we still have a minute and 53 seconds left of a power play, it looks terrible. The power play falls apart. And for the next few minutes, Buffalo really starts hunting us. They're going for us. They're not getting a lot on net, but they are taking the body and they are pushing. You love to see that from a team that, you know, if you root for them and they're sucky, you'd be like, all right, good for them. But it's a tie game against a team that you want to beat, and you're not looking that great. That being said, the hockey gods giveth, and the hockey gods taketh away. Puck gets shotted on Luukkonen. Luukkonen takes it off the chest, but doesn't corral the rebound at all, so it bounces out. Richie is there. He takes a shot. It deflects over to the left. Luukkonen was very much pressuring the puck out of the net. Corrali, of all people, gets the empty net goal for 2-1. You got to be in front of the net. You got to be in position. You got to be in the dirty areas. The dirty areas! That's a lead. And it's a lead we deserve because for the most of that period, we were dominant. We outshot them 17-4. Second period starts, and Buffalo has a really nice start to this second period. They push hard. If not for a couple of whiffs by them, this would be a tied game, if not them leading. The third line specifically getting really bodied in the beginning of the second. But what are we preaching right now? Dirty areas, ladies.
Did you mean to word it like that?
Shut up. Marchand on the right wall. He tries a backhand pass through the slot, but it goes by a litany of players. Lauzon ends up with it on the high left point, and he's going to hammer time this one. Right into Luukkonen's chest again. And again, it bounces out. And who is in front of the net to finish us off? Well, that would be your captain, St. Patrice. And he just dips and dunks and dives it right into the net. That's 3-1, and the route is on. We're only 6 minutes in to the second period, and it really does feel like this was the moment that things were going to snowball. There will be a penalty kill midway through this period. It's fine. We kill it. The penalty kill continues to be impressive. On we go, and this whole period, other than that first few minutes, is just an ass whooping. We are crushing these guys in chances. We're crushing these guys in physicality. They can't do anything to us. And it feels like the first and second line are going back and forth. They're playing horse at this point. Like, oh, you want to try that? Post. Oh, you want to try that? Crossbar. Oh, you want... They're just going back and forth. Both of them are having fun. Oh, you love to see it. With about 45 seconds left in the period, we will go to the power play. Now, we're not going to get anything about this power play, whether it be in the second period or the beginning of the third. But the reason I pointed out is because the offensive pressure leads to Luukkonen making a save. He comes across to his left. It looks like he pulled his groin when he did so. And I'm not joking here. That's an awful injury for a goalie to have. He comes up lame. He gets taken out of the game after the period. He would not return. I really hope he's okay. He was having some good moments with that team, and that team's terrible in front of him. I hope the best for him. Groin injuries, as we know at Bergeron, can be very nagging for a hockey player. So best wishes to Luukkonen. We're going to end that period 3-1. I want to point out our favorite little tool, the deserve to win-o-meter. Dominant. Not only have we been dominant, our first, second, and third lines all scored so far. Bergie, Corelli, Smith. What's even better is during that fourth line of DeBrusk, Lazar, Kuhlman, we have a 9-1 advantage in scoring chances and a 10-2 advantage in shots on net. Every line was dominant. Tokarski will start the third period. As we mentioned, Luukkonen goes down with the injury. Now, 3.5 minutes in, Richie's just feeling like he really wants that 7th player award. It's not fair. He had such a good start to the season. So, you know, let's get back on the score sheet and make sure people know you're there. Good thinking, Richie. Grizz steps into an absolute bomb from the left wall, and Richie is there to get the tip. High blocker. That's 4-1 early in the third. This game is over. In fact, it's super over because 2 minutes later, and it's more zone time, we are just racking up offensive pressure in this one. Things you like to see. Krejci is up at the top of the slot. He's backing off, kind of taking the defensive role at the point. He flings it down to Riley, who is doing his thing. He's cycling down the left side. Who's in front of the net? Who's in front of the net? Dirty areas! Smith just standing there. Riley with a beautiful feed right under his stick to him. This one, Tokarski kind of bit on a little too hard. He comes too far off the short side. So Smith just high blocker. That's his second goal of the game. It's 5-1. Ooh, just a spicy little lead of 4. The most dangerous lead in hockey, really. We are going to have a gross moment. Corrali loses a board battle to Ruotsalainen on the wall right behind Swayman. Ruotsalainen feeds Asplund up in the slot. He takes a shot right off of Swayman's chest. A nice positional save. Puck falls in front of Swayman, and Swayman, I don't know how this squeaked through. He should have this 100 times out of 100, but he didn't. Ruotsalainen comes off the wall, smacks the stick in there. It goes right underneath the pads. That is 5-2, and a bad goal for Swayman. There is a moment that a lot of you are going to see, and it's so dumb. So basically, midway through the third, Dahlin comes over and boards Pasta with a low cross check, full numbers. Pasta goes face first into the boards, right behind Tokarski's net. Right? That's illegal, but hey, it's fine. No call. After that, while Pasta is getting up, Dahlin circles around, and Marchand's right next to the net as well. And so he cross-checks Marchand in the small of his back, knocking Marchand into the net. So Pasta comes up behind Dahlin and grabs him, and it's like, no, fuck you, let's do this. Throws the mitts down. Marchand goes, no. Pasta, you don't fight. You don't fight. I fight. You don't fight. So he grabs Dahlin, pulls him in for the fight. A lot of people are going, typical Boston Bruins, 2-on-1 dirty bullshit, ignoring the 2 dirty hits from Dahlin. Dirty bullshit. Guys, as soon as Marchand grabbed Dahlin, Pasta didn't throw a hit, not a punch. He backed off. Because he knows, well, I'm not going to 2-on-1 the guy. There was no 2-on-1. Not only that, Dahlin should have a huge advantage in both those fights. Not only that, but Tokarski comes over with full mask and pads and everything and starts going after Pasta. And Pasta's literally laughing him off. What are you doing? What are you doing? And, of course, Swayman stays in his net. We don't need that. We don't need Swayman rushing down to fight the goalie. This isn't 1984. But this was not the Bruins are dirty play. I can't imagine the people saying that. This was 2 dirty hits by Dahlin, neither of which were called, and then Pasta sticks up for himself. Marshy takes him off Pasta because Marshy doesn't want Pasta fighting. That's all it was. The Bruins will go to the box. Pasta and Marshy will get roughing. Dahlin will get roughing. It's all going to even out except for the Bruins will be shorthanded. It does not matter. I understand why the refs called it this way, but the fact that they missed 2 calls to result in it is kind of dumb. But who cares? It's a lost game. And again, this is why Buffalo is the least penalized team in the NHL, is because they're getting shellacked on the scoreboard. So they just put them on the power play. They didn't even it out. They're like, fuck it, just you two were involved, you were involved, all 3 of you go to the box. This wasn't a dirty play by the Bruins. I would point out dirty plays by the Bruins. This wasn't it. I understand praising Dahlin in this situation, getting chippy, getting inside players' heads. I understand that from the Sabres side, and I like that, honestly. What I don't like is them accusing our players of doing something bullshit when your player was doing the bullshit. Like, that's part of the game, is getting that chippy little edge going. But watch the game, guys. Swayman will make some huge saves on this power play. He keeps it to be 5-2. And we will go on a power play ourselves shortly after. 14 minutes in, it's a classic interference on Smith. Smith had a chance to get the Hattie right there, man. But they plow him over. Penalty kill time for the Sabres. And this second line, I know it's a power play goal. I know. But it feels like a second line goal because it's Krejci and Smith all day, baby. All day. Krejci is just absolutely embarrassing people out there. He's on the left wall. He goes through his legs behind his back to Smith in the slot. Smith sends it right back to Krejci, backs himself up further into the slot. Krejci, pause, whips it to Smith. Smith with the nice deflection. High glove! That is a Hattie for Smitty. His first as a Bruin, his second in his career. And that, my friends, is 6-2, our final score. Game notes! This second line is disgusting! Disgusting. This was a dominant game by them. They combined for 7 points. They are absolutely crushing the possession numbers. I think their goals for expectations versus goals against, they held like 98%. That is insane. And if anyone wants to say, well, it's Buffalo, I don't give a shit. 98% against a professional hockey team? That's insane. Before we get to more of the positive, let's talk about Jakey. Before the game, there was a few statements about what Cassidy was saying to Brusk. And we've heard this all before. Second effort. You just got to help us win. It doesn't have to be goals, but it has to be smart structural hockey. You have the motor, you have the speed. What's missing? In this game, that's all I looked for from him. I wanted to see second effort. I saw one play with second effort. And his line was dominant. His line was good. That's the crazy thing. The fourth line still played well. And he was first guy in the forecheck. That first effort was there. But I could not count the amount of times that you had the puck in a board battle with Jakey and a Sabres player. And as soon as the puck went towards the Sabres side, right? As soon as the Sabres player had the advantage, it was over. Jakey was just like, okay, I'll take a couple steps toward you. But there was no jump, no speed, no pressure, physicality, anything. The reason we watch guys like Marchand, like Corrali, Lazar, guys with that motor and their puck retrieval is no matter how far behind a play they are or a puck they are, they just get low, put their head down and fly towards it. And that stick comes in and lifts. Like you'll see it all the time with Marchand where you go, oh my God, you're so close to a hooking or slashing. You have perfected this. And sometimes he, crosses that line. But he, from a 3 feet margin, would get the stick in there, disrupt a little bit, enough to create a timing mishap, which leads to a turnover for us. Jakey doesn't do that. The second effort isn't there. And for him to get benched for 2 games shortly before a playoff run and not have it, they're going to give him another game, I'm sure. I'm sure they will. This wasn't it. Against the worst team in the league, and you didn't have it. Again, in a game where it wasn't even close, and you got to just enjoy it, and you didn't have it. His time in Boston, I think, is actually coming to an end. And that is such a claim, right? That's your hot take. That's your big hot take. But the effort I saw last night, and the effort that's been intermittent throughout, and I know early in the season I defended it, and I was like, this guy still has a ton of potential. If he doesn't want to be here, there's no way to fix that. And it really feels like he doesn't want to be here, which is insane to me. It is actually insane. But think about the mental fortitude. And before the game, I was thinking about all the nice things I could say about Jakey. I really was. I was like, okay, so he goes from second line, gets dropped to the third line, gets dropped to the fourth line. He's struggling this year. But if he comes out with fire and passion on a fourth line wing in his natural position, the mental fortitude on this kid, good for you. I got the opposite from it. Tell me if you see something different. I got the opposite. I did not see any mental fortitude. I did not see any mental promise or power. He made the initial attempt. If it didn't work out, he just put his head down and went, okay. If you don't want to be here, bud, go light it up in the league somewhere else. And I'll live with it. I will absolutely live with it. Oh, they got rid of Jakey. He's so low. Oh, look at him now. I don't care. Because if this is the effort you're going to bring every night, we would never have gotten that from you anyway. I would like to see him have one more year, which he's contracted to get one more year. We'll see what he can do in a regular season. But right now, things are looking very poor in that regard. Lastly, this team is now poised for a deep playoff run. We have probably the hardest path to a cup. Each division will have a 1-versus-4 match that should be a landslide other than ours. The 2-versus-3s are closer in most of the divisions, probably not in the Canadian division, but that's all going to work itself out. Some of these teams might have a little bit easier time, the higher end guys going through. They're still going to win their games. Like, you still got to respect that. The East division is going to be a dogfight. A really hot streak going into the playoffs could be huge for us. Especially if you're feeling it, you get going, awesome. We're poised for a deep playoff run. And we need to be. And we need to be feeling good about ourselves because competing is going to be so hard against these teams. But I'm feeling a little confident right now. Let's see how the season ends, but I'm feeling a little confident. That does it for me, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. Go Bees.